Final Girl Countdown. Welcome in, randos, to another Fandom at Random podcast. And Brian, it continues, my friend.
It does.
Fandom Fright Fest.
Oh, it's like a month-long holiday. I fucking love it.
Oh, man, it never gets old. And randos, we have yet another freaky, fantastical episode for you today.
This might be my favorite one of the month, by the way.
Yeah, it's Brian's time of the month, so he's excited.
Yeah, buddy. Got my best friend.
So today we are doing if you're new to the podcast, welcome in again, fandomatrandom.com. If you're not familiar with the podcast, today we're doing a thing normally it's called Fandom Fighters, but today it's called Fandom Frighters.
Oh, yeah.
To get into that Halloween spirit during Fright Fest. And essentially what Brian and I are going to do, we are going to have a mono-e-mono draft battle. And what will we be drafting today, Brian?
The one and only Final Girl. Well, I mean, 6 Final Girls, but yes, we are going to be drafting a team of Final Girls to fight a killer of the viewer's choosing. I mean, think of whoever you want, a slasher of your choice. Jason, Michael, Freddy, Cropsy from The Burning, anybody, except maybe like Pinhead or a Xenomorph, because let's be real, most Final Girls can't fuck with them. So
yeah, there's only a select few that could.
Yeah, so
under the right
killer
circumstances,
out in a cabin in the woods, and we're gonna each pick a team of Final Girls to face off. You guys, it's your job to pick which team came out on top. Whose team is better? Mine, by the way. Ed is at a little bit of a disadvantage because he's not a horror fan. He saw The Ring once upon a time and never looked towards a horror movie ever again. So this should be interesting. But he knows a lot of the classics, so it's going to turn out good.
Yeah, I know a lot of the classics. I've done my research, so I think I'll be okay. But there's no question, you have the advantage when it comes to the horror fandom.
You ain't spit, Creed.
Now, I mean, even for people like, not necessarily myself, but people that aren't super into horror, can you elaborate a little bit? What is a Final Girl?
Yeah, I mean, so it's self-explanatory for the most part. Final Girl is a trope in horror movies referring to the female protagonist who remains alive at the end of the movie. Usually entails a sort of epiphany where she comes into the role of a final girl and fights back and fucks the killer up. So, again, usually, not always, the final girl does not have to fight back in some cases, but most of the time it's true.
And she doesn't always have to survive either.
True. That's very true.
Because there's a couple that do not make it.
That's
but
true.
I
so
would
there's
still consider them Final Girls.
Exceptions to the rules. But for the most part, Final Girl is the last remaining female survivor of a horror movie against a killer.
And randos, we're going to be doing that draft battle coming up in the very near future on this episode. But before we do, we've been skipping the news at random.
Yeah,
and Brian,
we've got some big news.
Yeah, we've got some pretty cool news that dropped this week that stays in Fandom Fright Fest. So what do you say? Fandom Fright Fest news at random?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it. Fright Fest news at random. So, Brian, I know we'll be talking about Final Girls in the very near future in our draft battle, but before we get into that, we're try not to name. Well, we're gonna have to a little bit, but
a little bit.
Tell us about what trailer dropped this week.
Scream 5. We knew it was coming. Scream 20th anniversary released in theaters. We knew the trailer was coming before those showings. And we got it on YouTube, and man, am I fucking hyped.
It looks good, man.
It does. It looks good. It looks just somewhat different as far as cinematography goes. And the line, Sidney Prescott, what an honor, you know?
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know if... but also, there's something to keep in mind. If you like horror and you watch this trailer, they filmed a bunch of different scenes to put in the trailer that they're not going to use in the movie in order to fake people out.
Really?
So... anything you see in the trailer could quite possibly not make it into the movie.
Interesting. So obviously you're getting the throwbacks. Nev Campbell is Sidney Prescott.
It looks like it's all about passing the torch on to a new cast.
Yep.
Obviously. People are theorizing, and I think they're right, that Stu is going to make a comeback. And it's going to be big. It's going to be good. It's coming out in January.
How the hell would Stu make a comeback?
I mean, they dropped the TV on his face. Doesn't mean he's dead, Billy got a bullet through the head. But a TV in the face could turn you into like Jigsaw from The Punisher, but you could still live through it, And, Jodie, I think her name was, I'm blanking on the name, but from Scream 4, the female cop.
Sure.
She had to get rid of a kid, and I heard like a weird, crazy theory that it might have been Stu's kid. It can get all kinds of crazy. It's Scream 5. There is no rules anymore, It's good, though. It looks real. When that shot, when it shows Ghostface standing up and it's the low end. Oh, I got goosebumps, dude. I got a boner, too.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Let's talk video game news and still Fright Fest related. Back for Blood.
Played this a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been playing it a little bit, and I like it. Yeah. I definitely like it so far. It's got some potential.
It's chaotic, man.
It is super chaotic.
Yeah.
And it is just 4-player zombie killing co-op mayhem.
I thought you were going to say foreplay. I'm like, whoa, I think we're playing a different game here, boys.
But I'm having fun with it. We haven't had a chance to meet up in-game yet. I've been playing with some dumb NPCs. I had a chance to hop into a couple games with some randos, but yeah, it's I'm enjoying it. So Back for Blood, if you want some zombie bashing and shooting action, check it out.
Fuck yeah.
Chucky.
Hey, Andy. I watched the first episode and I fucking loved it. Honestly, I thought I was going to hate this show. I knew Brad Dourif was coming back. I knew they were going to have a bunch of cameos, but I'm like, there's no way this could work, If they stick to the formula of the first episode, it's a really slow burn. We get to see Chucky be intimidating, but not actually kill anybody. It really worked. The humor was there. The tension, the atmosphere, it was all there. So I'm excited, and I need to watch the second episode.
Yeah, and that's key with Chucky. You have to have some of the humor as well. That's one thing I didn't like about some of the later Chuckies, though. They went a little too heavy.
Not only
on the humor,
but the doll kind of looked like shit. And this is by far the best Chucky and the good guy doll has ever looked.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably the biggest thing that happened this past week, Halloween Kills.
I couldn't make the noise, but yeah.
So if you, again, fandom@random.com, if you're following our socials, you can also follow Brian on Instagram. He's been actually uploading, and on our YouTube channel, he's been uploading reviews of horror films. You just uploaded a video review on our YouTube page.
On the YouTube.
Of Halloween Kills. And I checked it out. Good job, by the way, on your first video.
Thank you, sir. It was nerve-wracking, and I think I got a long way to go before perfecting the art, but I think it came out okay. I'm just glad I finally released something. I think it's going to be a very divisive video, because my opinion might not be so popular with Halloween fans, but you're going to have to go and watch it, check it out.
Yeah, we're going to be talking more about Halloween itself, Halloween Kills, and all of the Halloween films a little bit later this month. A little bit of a spoiler alert.
I will say, it's a movie. If you're a horror fan, you got to watch it. I mean, don't ignore it, Definitely see the movie for yourself.
Yeah, I have not checked it out yet, but I will man up and check it out.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
And then lastly, and I felt this was still appropriate to put in Fright Fest news.
I think so.
The Batman trailer also dropped this past week. And it looks, dude, I think it looks pretty badass.
I think it's about as horror as Batman can get, and I think it looks badass as well.
It's technically not Batman Year One, but it's
close.
It's close. It's hearkening. It's still early into his career as the Batman. And, I mean, the Riddler, they're making him look like a sadistic serial killer, which is cool.
Is the only way. At this point, we've seen the Riddler a couple times. I think the only way we can get a good Riddler is by making him sadistic.
Yeah, I think if they can take, what Heath Ledger did for the Joker, and you can do that with the Riddler as well.
Yeah,
just definitely sadistic, and I like to see. I'm hoping they get into Batman doing some actual detective work. Because, I mean, that's been lacking in a lot of the more live-action Batman films.
I see, in my opinion, they got to find a good balance, because all these people are talking about, oh, I want to see the detective work. Yeah, but at the same time, dude, that shit's kind of boring on film, too. If you're in a video game, maybe, but just watching it on film, if they stretch it out too much or do too much of it, it could really ruin the pacing of a movie.
But if they tie into him trying to figure out these riddles,
right?
Well, like he's like, all right, you have 1 hour
if
to
it
figure
feels
this
like
riddle out, or someone's gonna die, and then he's like, then there's stakes.
Riddler feels like Jigsaw, and Batman is trying to figure out like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yes,
that would be fucking cool.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
Right.
So that's about all we had for Fandom Fright Fest related news this week. I mean, obviously some other nerd news has dropped, but we're trying to stick to Fright Fest all throughout the month of October.
Couple trailers released. I'll post those on socials so you can watch them.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, I think it's about that time.
Yes.
You ready to fight, my friend?
Fucking yeah.
Let's do it. I missed it. I missed it.
For those of you watching, that was my signal because I couldn't find the big D. The big D.
Oh,
the big D.
You mean this thing's sitting right here?
There it is. Yeah, it was hiding behind my microphone. For how big it is, I couldn't believe I missed it.
All I saw you was doing this. Again, if you're not watching on YouTube, check it out.
I figured I was shaking the dice, but also kind of like a little subtext.
Yeah,
to
Brian looked like he had a shake weight, and he was just like eyeballing me. I'm like, what is going on? So welcome into Fandom Frighters. And today we will be drafting the final girls of horror. And as Brian said, he has a very distinct advantage here. Horror is by far Brian's specialization when it comes to this podcast and his fandoms.
Yes, sir.
But I'm going to do my best, man. I'm going to assemble a kick-ass squad of badass Scream Queens.
It's not like you've never watched horror in your life, so you still aren't at that much of a disadvantage. So it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and if this was like Ed's top anime waifus or something like that,
absolutely,
man, I would have it.
Or top 10 senpais or whatever,
Which actually, Rando's little sneak peek, you may get something anime related in the horror Halloween feel next week.
Whoop, whoop.
So stay tuned. I'll get my moment to shine. Fuck off.
I'm just kidding.
So Brian, setup and rules here. So we'll be drafting 6 girls total, correct?
Yeah.
So we'll be drafting 6 final girls on each side. Again, we're going to roll this big old D20 die. Mm-hmm. Whoever rolls first gets to go first.
Yep.
And then obviously the other person gets to go second, back and forth until we each have 6. So, and certain ones of these, and we let you choose. If you get the high roll, you get to decide whether you want to go first or second.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes going second can be an advantage because you also get last pick. But you never know. You never know. So, who is the killer? As you just said, it's going to be... We're going to leave it up to you, randos.
Yeah.
It's pretty much going to be just a mixture of all different slashers, serial killers that are trying to come after these final girls that we're assembling as a team to hopefully stop whoever is coming for them.
Absolutely.
Now, where are these final girls going to be?
Cabin in the Woods. I was
Classic.
thinking about the setting... And it just kept coming to me. A Cabin in the Woods is the perfect location. You have
also great flick.
Yeah, great flick. And you have a house that they can, have a close quarters battle with the slasher in, or they can have chase scenes in the woods surrounding the cabin. There's even a little lake out there somewhere. So you got everything. I mean, that's a perfect setting in my book. I
agree. I concur wholeheartedly, my friend.
Yeah.
And okay, so 6, and I had to do some research on this one.
Yeah,
I know you did yours.
Oh man,
it's gonna be interesting.
I have so many. The hardest thing about this is, first of all, the way we're picking these. Let me just break it down a tiny bit. Badassery is number 1. Badassery for a final girl is a must, and then I'd kind of say star power. Sure. How well known they are in the community or in general. And then also, the role model aspect. Are they, people to look up to for young women everywhere? Because let's face it, this is the final girl is kind of a representation of female empowerment. So it's an important factor too, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, it's just about how well the team is built and how good of a chance they stand at beating Ultra Slasher.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. All right, we're going to get right into it here. We've got this big old D20
man.
we're going to roll.
Oh, I can't even remember who rolled. You can go.
Yeah, it's already on my side, so
Yeah.
I'll do the honors. Ready?
Oh, shit. That's a 2. That's a 2 right
I
there.
literally rolled a number 2.
Number two. Watch me. Dude,
I
my
pooped
luck.
my pants, literally.
My
number
luck,
2.
you know. All right,
14.
So I almost kind of wish I lost on this one because there are 2 obvious choices for me for number 1. But there's also one that I need to be able to pick. I have a very big favorite that I need to put in there, but she wouldn't be my number 1 pick out of the whole list.
You're afraid I'm going to take her?
Maybe, but I feel like my number 1 pick, you're going to have to pick the balance of that, or else you're going to get thrown off.
I feel like there is a clear like tier 1 bracket.
Right. And I feel like there's 2 people in that tier 1 bracket.
Yeah, when you're mixing in, it depends on what you're mixing in. Like you said, like there's a bit of star power, but there's some in here that the badassery I think elevates them.
Right.
That they almost could be in that tier 1.
You're absolutely right.
I honestly would say there's 3 to 4 I potentially would put, but I think there are 2 that maybe stand above the rest.
So I think I have to pick this one. I named my dog after her.
Yeah, that's
she's
what I
the
figured.
ultimate final girl, and if you disagree, go get fucked. Ellen Ripley. She fought off a goddamn xenomorph. So
Yeah,
against
so Ellen-
the slasher,
Ellen Ripley from the Alien franchise, played by Sigourney Weaver.
Sigourney Weaver. I literally named my dog Ripley, so it had to be that, you know.
Yeah, she was in my top 3.
Yeah,
For sure. And it's a great pick, and like you said, you get everything with Ripley.
Absolutely.
Everything. The badassery, iconic, awesome role model. I mean, you could make the argument she was one of like the big like female empowerment figures.
I think
like,
so. Yeah, before.
Because before that, I mean, it was more so, usually men were cast as the badasses in these roles.
It was more subtle in a final girl before Alien. It was much more subtle, but then they just threw Sigourney Weaver in a male-dominated genre role. Because let's face it, even though Alien is a horror, it's also like sci-fi action as well. And we always got Stallone or Schwarzenegger or Jean-Claude Van Damme. So to see Sigourney Weaver as Ripley was fucking amazing.
So this is tough because, again, I'm trying to... Like, I feel like your first pick in this, you're almost picking your captain.
Right.
Of your team.
And
to
me, there's only one other counter to this, but you may have a different idea.
No, and it's going to be who I'm going to pick. Because I was torn between these 2, but there is a third that I'm 95% sure I know what your next pick is going to be.
Let me just say,
and I actually regret that you got the first pick because I think having these 2 on your team, is going to be,
because if you didn't pick this one and I did,
it's over.
It would be a balance war right there. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and take Sarah Connor. So played by Linda Hamilton.
Yes.
And if you want to talk about another badass woman, badass final girl to have on your team, and an original Terminator, OG Terminator, it is a slasher film.
Yes. Yeah, the OG Terminator, you found that in the horror aisle at Blockbuster, fucking right smack dab in the middle. It's a horror movie.
And
horror sci-fi,
talking about, I mean, the original Sarah Connor, only a waitress, but she gets badass hella quick.
Yeah.
Going into T2 and beyond, so.
And let's face it, I mean, whether the T-800 or T-1000 or Xenomorph, I'd say those enemies are pretty tied on like difficulty. So
Yeah, I would agree.
Great pick. Yeah, if you
They're
didn't
both-
pick that, I was kind of going to be like, what in the fuck is he
Yeah,
doing?
they're both well trained when it comes to using multiple different types of weapons.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we're both off to a good start. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I know where you're going to go now.
Now,
Or I think I know where you're going to go.
I will say, this pick right here, I've been fighting in my brain, going back and forth between two women. And I think I've landed on one.
I know what the two are.
Because
I'm going to pick the other one.
yeah, maybe, probably. In my generation and growing up, and what scared me and who I really loved and had a huge crush on, I think I have to pick Sydney Prescott.
She was my next pick.
Oh man, there's another one that she bounces between my 1 and 2 favorite final girls of all time, but there's another one as well that I wanted to pick. But the balance, because Sydney is empathetic but also a badass. She's not overly done. You know, she's like your girl next door badass. And I just love how the casting, Nev Campbell did an amazing job as her.
Killed it.
And she knows all the rules, you know. You don't run upstairs. A big-breasted chick doesn't run up the stairs when she should be running out the front door. She's got it all. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Although she broke that literal rule when Ghostface came in.
She broke a couple of them, but that's okay because she came out on the end. And then she did a double tap. So
yeah,
she knows what she needs to do.
Yeah, and she got another person that just became super badass, can handle herself with firearms.
Yes.
She's, well trained in pretty much everything. And like you said, she covers all the bases.
Her character development through the sequels was amazing as well.
Yeah, very good. So Ellen Ripley and Sydney Prescott. So that's unfortunate for me.
Off to a good start.
Because, I really wanted Sydney.
Yeah.
I really wanted
Sydney.
I really wanted Sydney on my team, and I'm going to say about 75% sure you weren't going to take her. I thought you were going to take somebody else here.
Sorry, that's the wrong answer.
So I'm going to have to take her because, again, if you're talking about
I'm curious
OG Final Girl.
If you're thinking the same one I am.
Unbelievably badass, and she's been badass for a long time. Laurie Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis.
That wasn't it, but
from
that's
Halloween.
An obvious pick, yeah. Sorry, that's the wrong answer.
So obviously, with her battling Michael Myers, what seems like forever.
Yeah.
And
when we pick sorry to interrupt you, but when we pick these characters, we're talking about their character development through the sequels or reboots or requels. So, because in this case, I mean, we have
all the above.
Reboot sequel technically to 2018 and Halloween Kills. So, right.
Yeah, so I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, complete badass, one of the OG original Final Girls. And I like having her, like right now, like I've got some veteran status on my team.
Right.
Between Sarah Connor and Laurie Strode. You've got Sydney Prescott to kind of usher in the new generation.
Yes.
So I'm going to get some young blood coming up soon.
Now, my opinion, and Halloween fans, please don't come after me. Please don't stop watching just because of this. Laurie Strode barely makes my top 5. If we're being very honest about it, yes.
Okay.
She used to be one of my favorites, but as the time has moved on, she's kind of been knocked down a couple levels. But
all right,
that takes nothing away from Jamie Lee Curtis or Laurie Strode as a character.
All right.
So my second pick is open, dude. Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, that was coming up next for me.
And another reason for the pick for this fandom Frighters is because she basically studies guerrilla warfare to beat fucking Freddy.
Yes.
In the first movie. And she comes back in Dream Warriors, and she is the ultimate nemesis to Freddy because Freddy Dickworm looks at her and goes, like the look on his Dickworm face just showed everything. Like, he does not want to go face to face with her because she's smart. She's your everyday girl next door, but at the same time, she doesn't use brute force. She uses fucking street smarts.
Like you said, too, like taking it upon herself to... I remember, like, she was going to the library and, like you said, like, taking out, like, books on like guerrilla warfare
Right.
and shit. Like hiding I think she hid like a coffee making machine in her room.
She
so
built
didn't
a
have to
bomb
sleep.
out of a light bulb. Fucking, there was a lot. Not only that, but she's fighting a supernatural dream master.
Yeah.
Not even just any slasher. She's going crazy from insomnia, and she still beats Freddy. Let's not talk about the ending of Nightmare on Elm Street 1, because then it gets a little confusing, and we don't want to get into that. But yeah, Nancy.
All right, so I mentioned to Brian beforehand. So obviously horror is Brian's forte. That is his strong point. I added a couple that are going to be borderline in here
Yep.
for Final Girls. And Brian, I'm going to let you kind of decide. And I can do it for you as well. If you name someone, I'm like, ooh, yeah, I don't know. But I've got a couple picks in here that may be borderline. And if you're like, no, I can't allow that, whatever. Well, that's fine.
All right.
I would like to take, and this is like supernatural abilities be damned. I'm going to take Alice from Resident Evil. So, what do you think? Will you allow that? So, you know, female protagonist. She's pretty much the last woman standing at the Resident, and you know, Mila Jovovich.
Honestly, dude, I don't. If we were talking video games, maybe, but the movie is strictly action. I don't think we can allow it.
Okay.
In the horror community, in horror rules, it's strictly an action movie, and I don't know if that would be fair.
That's fair then.
Yeah, I'm
it's
sorry.
off my list.
I just, because it doesn't feel right. And if you guys disagree with me, mention it in the comments, and we'll give him a rebuttal, because I am not the end-all, be-all of Final Girls. So
here's my rebuttal.
You know?
And this is another one. I want to see if you'll allow me.
Okay.
I'm going to take Amanda Young, played by Shawnee Smith from Saw 1.
Yes.
Who eventually becomes Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Because she is a final girl.
She is.
She was able to survive Jigsaw's shit in the first
Saw
one.
franchise. Yes, I can allow that.
So now, and she also has the mind of a killer.
Right.
So I can get that on my team. You know, she can set up. I'm talking my cabin in the woods. That shit is going to be booby trapped to hell with all of her little traps that she can set up. She's a little crazy.
She is.
But I think my team could keep her in check.
And remember, yeah, you have to run the risk of her turning on your whole team, being like, this is a lesson to all of you. Yeah. Now I want to play a game.
That is acceptable, though?
It is. Yeah, I will take that one. That one's a good one, actually, because I didn't even think of that. But now that you put it out there, I like it. Yeah. What was
Not to mention, I mean, she brutally kills her boyfriend to survive.
Yeah.
And she's like one of the only, I mean, she pretty much is the only person to survive
heroin
original
addict
Jigsaws.
And fought her way through the mask. And what's her original name again? Not the actress, the character.
Amanda Young.
Amanda Young, yeah. Good one. All right.
So I tried to, I might have a couple here. I really tried to think outside the box because I knew you had an advantage. So I kind of want to.
So I'm going to be posting this to Killer Flicks, the group I keep mentioning, because I feel like a lot of the votes, especially towards the end of my list, we're going to be counting on you guys, the hardcore fans, because I got one or two wild cards I'm curious about.
Well, I got Bruce Wayne coming up for my next pick.
All right.
Batman.
So,
my favorite final girl.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
All right. Oh, damn, dude. Like, I'm trying not to go completely predictable, and there's a lot of final girls that are so much better that aren't one of the big three, you know? So, I think to begin with,
I might surprise you with some of mine coming up.
maybe, I think I'm going to have to go with, oh, what the fuck? Two of these girls are such badasses right now.
All right, so just you saying that, I'm going to pick my other one after you because I know one of these is your pick. Maybe.
Erin Harson from You're Next.
Yep.
The Australian backwoods badass, dude.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like she could just destroy a slasher, you know? She handles home invasions like she does it on the weekends. The Aussie badass, and she plays that role so well. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking... I mean, honestly, it was the perfect pick to make right there. If you want to offset my Amanda Young, because my Amanda Young pick, I'm thinking more of like the booby trap making. Erin Harson can completely I mean, that's what she does.
Yeah.
It's guerrilla warfare, like 101.
Right? Yeah, that's what she was taught. She lived it as a kid into her adulthood, and played by Shani Vincent, too. She was a model, and for a model to pull that off was just amazing.
Yeah, badass. Absolute badass. All right. I need to step my team up a bit here. All right, so let's see. Badassery, star power. You know what we didn't talk about too with Final Girls, though? Another factor.
What?
Is luck. Luck is a huge factor with some of these Final Girls, and
It is.
They're just naturally lucky.
Yeah.
And other people around them not so much, but they're usually just pretty damn lucky. So I've got a luck pick, but I'm gonna wait because I think I can get her a little bit later.
Okay. It's a tough one, man.
I'm gonna take Grace De Lomas from Ready or Not.
That's a good. That's another good balance to Erin. Sure. Because honestly, when I was deciding the badass home invasion chick, it was gonna be Samara Weaving or Grace. Or
Grace.
Erin,
Grace getting put in that situation where you have an entire family
to be
trying
honest,
to kill you.
Samara Weaving as Grace is more my favorite than Erin, but I feel like Erin is just a slight more badass. But Samara Weaving, man, I fell in love with her the past couple of years.
And don't take away from my pick. It's Grace
Not
De
taking
Lomas,
away from
man.
it. That's just my opinion.
You're trying to pander the crowd here.
My opinion alone. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, it's like I don't want to say they're the same movie because they're not. They're very different in certain ways, but at the same time, there's a lot of similarities.
So the second you took Erin and you kept mentioning there were two, I kept thinking in my brain, I'm like, I think Grace is the other one.
Right.
And that's why I was like, I'm going to take her because she's badass, man.
Yeah, she really is.
Absolute badass Final Girl.
She fucked them up.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This is
so tough, man.
Yeah.
It's just so tough. There's so many classic ones, like classic horror films too, but I don't know. See, that was your strong point, so I'm trying to find like weird pivots over here.
I just have so many that are badasses, but also star power and all this other shit. And I feel like
I will take Princess Leia.
I feel
a literal Jedi.
Like see, and I don't know if I want to pick another Nightmare on Elm Street character. And I feel confident in saying that because
I have one written down. Yeah. I know exactly who you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Someone that can control dreams. With all the Dream Warriors powers.
Warrior, perhaps.
But
How many picks am I at?
You're at 4 picks. 4, 5, so but you made the right one. It has to be Nancy Thompson over her.
Right. Yeah, no, there was no doubt about that. All right, so I think I'm going to have to go with... All right, this is kind of a... No. See, dude, no, I don't know. In the end, I don't...
No.
Yeah. Let's see.
I feel pretty good about my next pick.
So this is from the heart. Because in the Friday the 13th franchise, this is my favorite Final Girl. Whether it is going to be other people's, I don't know. And she has a little bit of a bonus. Tina Shepard from Friday the 13th, Part 7, New Blood. She has telekinesis. Believe it or not. Now we don't have to include that in the decision. My reasoning is because I just like her as a character much better than, let's say, the most obvious Friday the 13th pick, which I don't know if you have her or not, but I'll leave the name out. But she's just my favorite character. She's kind of this shy, broken girl because she killed her father as a kid. And she really comes into her own and her powers and defeats Jason. So that was my favorite and I feel like I have to include a Friday the 13th pick. So
yeah, I love the pick there because you totally just Kirby'd.
I didn't Kirby. See, that's why I'm counting on the hardcore fans to really back me up here.
I'm sending this guy over your way. You just Kirby. Take it.
You don't know. See, we'll
Take
keep him,
Kirby.
We'll keep him in the middle right here because I can't take him until I lose the vote. Because personally, I don't think you can Kirby unless you lose the vote.
Well, we'll see.
That's got to be a rule.
And again, remember, I'm in a severe handicap here.
I know.
This is not my fandom, but
I know.
I'm trying to pull from things that I've seen that I feel make badass final girls, and this is another one. I'm going to see if you allow it. Evelyn Abbott, Emily Blunt in A Quiet Place.
Yeah. I mean, if I'll allow it if you want to pick it, but I think you might have to take that Kirby back. I will allow it though.
I mean,
if that's what
if
you're
talking
pick.
character development and shit, though, I mean,
absolutely,
she was badass. And
Whether
she can take care of her family.
Yep. Whether she's a final girl or not can be debated, but
I mean, if you've seen the sequel, you know she's very much a final girl.
Right, but because of that, I will allow it. Yes.
I can pivot if not.
No,
I can pivot.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Only because I think it'll play in my favor, but sure. All right. My last pick, and you have the last pick, so I can't talk outright about it.
Sure you can. Come on.
Come on.
Give me some ideas.
Oh man, there's one I really want to pick from the heart, but it's like a wild
Just
one.
another pick from the heart.
It's a wild one, brother. I think I'm gonna have to go with Sarah Carter from The Descent.
Yeah.
Dude, again, badassery. This chick is borderline psychotic because her best friend cheated on her husband cheated on her with her best friend. They end up in a cave together, and while they're getting attacked by blind, naked bat monsters, she finds out about the best friend thing, sacrifices her to get out of the fucking cave. It just turns all kind of crazy.
I thought she never got out of the cave in the end.
She's been... Yeah, no, she did.
Did she?
She stabs her best friend in the leg with the fucking cave hook, and when she screams, all the monsters come at her, and... Yeah, and then the shot of her in the bloodbath.
Oh, yeah.
And coming up. She's been one of my top 5 final girls for a long time now. And, yeah, she deserves to be on the team.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I've got... Again, my list... I did not make it long enough. I was like, all right, I got some here Brian totally won't pick, and he took most of them. So luckily, I've got 2 left to choose from, and I'm happy with either one, and I can openly talk about them now. But shitting on my Evelyn Abbott pick.
I'm not shitting
she's a final girl, man. Come on.
Not shitting on it. I'm just saying some people watching may debate it. I will agree. She's a final girl, but it's loose. It's loosey goosey. So
that's how we play it on the Fandom at Random podcast.
Goes in tight, comes out loose. So we'll see what happens.
2 in the front, 5 in the back, minivan style.
Pinky stinky.
All right, so I'm gonna go. I keep mentioning like every team needs a little bit of luck, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take Sally Hardesty, played by Marilyn Burns from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
So if we were just doing favorite final girls list, she would absolutely be up there. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to pick her, but really, when it all boils down to it, she's a lovable character.
Oh, yeah.
She's a final girl, but the only thing she's really good at is running.
But sometimes
she has a lot of luck,
and she was in a lot of situations where, like, she was so lucky.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I literally needed a rabbit's foot on my team.
Right.
Sometimes that's what's in need. Like,
I get what you're saying. I absolutely get where you're coming from and completely agree with it.
My other pick was Julie James, Jennifer Love Hewitt from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, I couldn't pick the big-breasted dumb girl for a final girl.
Which she eventually, in the sequel, got... Yeah.
I'd say Brandy came more out on top than she did.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
All right. Let's read off our picks. I've got Sarah Connor, Laurie Strode, Amanda Young, Grace De Lomas, Evelyn Abbott, and Sally Hardesty.
And then I've got... Fuck, what was my last pick?
Sarah Carter?
Sarah Carter.
I keep wanting to say Sarah Connor.
I know, right? Ripley from Alien, Sydney from Scream, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, Erin Harson from You're Next, and Sarah Carter.
And Tina Shepard.
And Tina Shepard. Yeah, sorry. I missed one when I was trying to put it in it. And Sarah Carter from the Descent.
All right, that's about it.
Yeah. Well, we got some honorable mentions here because I want to throw them out, right? So, again, if we were making a different list and we weren't facing off, there'd be a lot of different picks here, like Alice from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5.
Or Alice from Resident Evil.
Or from Resident Evil. Kristen, played by Patricia Arquette and Tuesday Night, but we try to forget about that. Carly Jones, House of Wax, played by Alicia Cuthbert. I loved her.
Even
Helen from Candyman, another great fucking final girl that people don't mention enough.
Even Patricia Arquette in Scream. What's it? Gail Weathers?
Oh, you mean Courtney Cox?
Why am I thinking Patricia Arquette?
Because Courtney Cox is married to David.
Thank you, David Arquette.
Who is Patricia
Arquette's
brother.
Thank you.
What else? I mean, shit.
That was like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Taylor Gentry from Leslie Vernon Behind the Mask was going to be one of my picks. So you've probably never seen the movie. It is one of the best slasher comedies I've ever seen. But she follows around Leslie Vernon and learns about how serial killers operate. And then she's turned into the final girl at the end. And it's genius. And honestly, you could watch it. It's not even scary. So you'd be fine.
Cool.
And she is amazing. Gail Weather I actually had up there.
But I feel like if you have Sidney Prescott, you can't take Gail.
Right.
You're just taking the B team.
Mia from the Evil Dead remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it. Erin from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. Jessica Biel.
Is Ash a final girl?
Yeah, maybe, right?
In the original.
Possibly. Yeah, no, I thought of that. And no, he's too manly to be a final girl. But Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I thought about for a second. He's definitely a scream queen.
Yeah.
And a final guy, but either way. Yeah, so there's a ton of them. Kirsty from Hellraiser. I didn't think she would fit in this team, but she's on there. There's a ton of them out there, man.
I like it.
So, vote. Who has the best team? Who's going to win in the end? We all know. Just put it on paper. We'll have it on the socials.
As Brian said, fandomatrandom.com. Be sure to follow. The voting will be up later this week. And we'll have to put a little skin in the game on this one.
Yeah.
Loser will have to do something awful.
Has to should get like a dildo that we have to hold for punishment for a whole podcast, maybe.
Just kind of like direct and wave. All right, randos. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week. Later.